Hello everybody, my name's Schwan, and in this tutorial for TragicServers.com, we're going to talk about how to properly install Bukkit on your Minecraft server, and some of the things that go along with that, which would be like installing plugins and some basic commands. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you go to your control panel, and you go to, I believe, server control, you'll see a few things. Actually, let's go to auto installers first. So we can automatically install Bukkit to our server. However, the problem with this is it only pulls down from the default Bukkit stable builds, which is okay, but those builds don't update that quickly. So let's say a brand new update comes out in Minecraft that adds some interesting things that you want to play with, but you also want to make sure that your mods and your plugins still work. Bukkit normally doesn't update their stable version that quickly, so that's not really an option. So if you were using auto installers and a new update came out, you'd have to wait until Bukkit finished their stable build in order to get that done. If you want it more quickly, Bukkit has beta builds and alpha builds and dev builds, but those aren't available through auto installers, so I'm going to recommend you not use the auto install feature for Bukkit. That in mind, let's talk about those different versions. So linked in the description of this video is going to be this page, and it's all the different versions. So you got the recommended build right here, you got the beta build and the developmental build. And if you look on the left here, it tells you, the different types of builds when they came out. And if you look, one of the beta builds actually, became broken. So it is beta, it might break, but in my experience, most of the time, as you can see here, they don't. So I would recommend that you use either a beta or development build. It really doesn't matter. And if you use one of these, it'll be compatible with the most recent version of Minecraft. Because as you can see, the recommended build is 1.4.5. However, the most recent version of Minecraft is actually 1.4.6, which is only supported by beta and development. Alright, so that's just important to see how that works. Now, I forget which one, but I downloaded one of these, probably the beta one, because in theory that would be more safe than, the red one, development. And what you need to do is you get a Java file, and if we open up FileZilla, now we've talked about FileZilla in a previous video, so I'm not going to explain everything I'm doing here, but I downloaded whatever version of CraftBukkit. Looks like I downloaded a beta build. So I downloaded a beta build of CraftBukkit, and it's just on my desktop, and then this is our Minecraft server. Now, what I did was I took this, I dragged it over to the slash here, which is the root directory, and then I let go of the mouse button. And when I did that, it started uploading a file, and here it is on the server right here. Okay, so it just needs to be in the default root directory. Not in any of these folders, just boom, right in the start. So once you do that, you need to go back to the control panel, and you need to actually tell the server you want to use that executable, as opposed to the default one with no Bukkit support. So we go to server control, and we say, okay, so if we click on this, we can change the jar file. Now you'll see that this is the exact file that we uploaded to our server right here. This is the current one. Now yours will probably say current on this one, and it's just a standard game, no mods. And then we uploaded a beta build, this one, and what we want to do is we want to change it to the beta build. Okay, so instead of running the standard game with no mod, we want to switch it to the build that we uploaded ourselves. All right, now we're going to press change jar file. Okay, and then boom, it's done. Now down here is what version the server is, and you just make sure that matches the version that you want. So the most recent version of Minecraft is 1.4.6, and the CraftBukkit version we downloaded was 1.4.6, so we know that's compatible. So we're good to go. Now here's a few ways to know whether or not it worked. If you were to go into the console here, and you were to type version, you would see that the server is, it says this server is running CraftBukkit, blah 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 blah, and it even tells you the version, whatever. The thing that's important here, actually this is kind of interesting. It looks like I made a mistake. So if we go to server control, okay, I want it to be this one. but it said that it was that one. That was kind of weird. Let's change the jar file. Okay, this one is taking. Oh, next time you restart the server. Okay, so I didn't read my own thing. So when you press change jar file, you then have to press restart server. Do it. Okay. And then once your server is being restarted, see it's still stopped, so we'll just give it a chance. I'm just clicking on the server control panel until it says up. So let's go into the console tool and we'll type version. And then we'll see that we are running 1.4.6, and you'll see this should be very familiar because this is, similar to the file name that we uploaded to the server. Okay. So now we know that CraftBukkit's working and the beta build's working and our Minecraft version of 1.4.6, and so is our CraftBukkit build. And the next step is we need to find plugins. So linked in the description are 2 places to find plugins for CraftBukkit. The first one is the forums. So you can search these forums. I'll just use weather as an example. So here's a few like weather plugins. And you can also search DevBukkit for weather and you'll see more examples. The sites are slightly different. I think if you had to pick one, I would pick the dev build site instead of the forums. But I'm actually not necessarily sure what, and if you see, each of them links to each other, like search the Bukkit dev, search the forum. So I guess they're both useful in different ways, but I don't know which one's better. I'm going to assume dev build is though. So once you pick a add-on that you want, a plugin that you want, for example, weather restrictions, you'll see a page like this, and there's comments and information about the plugin. And then you press download, and then you need to press download over here, and then you'll download a jar file. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that right now. I've already downloaded that file, and you'll see it's right here, weather restrictions, and we already have a plugins folder in our root directory. Now if we didn't, let's say we didn't, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Delete. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and press here, create directory, plugins. Now we do. So if you don't have a plugins folder, just make a plugins folder. And then put the jar file that you got from the plugin site right into the plugins folder on the server. And there you go. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. So we're going to go back into our control panel. And there's a couple ways we could do this. We could restart the server. Okay. Or we could type reload. Alright, so it reloaded all the plugins. And now it says at the very bottom, weather restrictions is enabled. So if we type in plugins, that command plugins will list all the plugins currently running on the server, which is one plugin, weather restrictions. So remember, once you install a plugin, just type reload into console, and then it will reload it, and you'll be set. You don't have to restart the server or anything. And then if you want to know what plugins are running properly on your server, just type plugins, and it will list all the properly running plugins. Now there's something to note here, which is if we refresh this directory, we'll see a folder that pops up with the same name as the plugin that we installed. That's because most plugins are, you can configure them. And you can read about that more in like the documentation, So like right here, if there was anything like, see for instructions how to configure, click here. And then here's like all the options you can do. So most plugins make another folder and they have a config file that you can view. And if this happens to you, like see like .yml, like oh man, I don't know how to open this file. It's a text file, so we'll go ahead and browse here. Let's do. Actually didn't plan for this, but that's okay. We'll do Sublime Text. Okay. There we go. And we just had to specify what it was going to open with, and now here it is. And we could have chose like Notepad, we could have chose Notepad++, whatever you want to open a text file. And then you'll just see all the commands that are default, and you can consult the documentation to customize that to your needs. So most plugins that you install will work similar to this. Okay? And that's basically it. I'm trying to think if I have anything else left to tell you guys. I'm pretty sure that I don't. And our next video is going to be how to update a server. It's going to be similar to a lot of the lessons we learned in this video, but it's just going to be real specific and just how to update a server properly when an update comes out. And that's it. I'll look forward to that next video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.